What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Ray P. Welcome back to another long awaited episode of the We Got Y'all podcast. I am joined by my amazing co hosts, Road Dog, Kyron, aka Rich or K Rich, whatever y'all call him. What's going on, man?
Hey, slow motion over here. I appreciate that. Your intro game is strong.
Hey,
Just want to let you know that. You have a calling in that. If I ever feel down, I can always hit you up and just like, yo, do the intro, hype me up a little bit. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for that. How you feeling, Ray P?
I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
But I'm good. You know what? I'm safe and I have what I need. Shout out to Dr. Kia. But I'm good. But YouTube family, as y'all can see, another day, another hotel room. No
Mhm.
working girl, but but got work to do. So here we are. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, man. I'm trying to think if that was a We Got Y'all episode when nah, it was Culture Garden. I think we were talking about either the photograph from Malcolm and Marie when you were just talking about like I'm not a hustler. I just happen to do it. Like I'm not trying to be out here working this hard for this money.
Period.
But we know you do it. We know you do it, man. I'm doing well though, feeling good. Like you said, tired. But that's life, man. It's just I guess it's a blessing to be tired.
For sure.
If you want to
For
look at it
sure.
in that sense. You got a birthday coming up.
Hey, somebody in here. It's your birthday. Big
Yeah,
Pisces.
man. Yeah, big Pisces, March 1st. Like you got anything planned?
Yeah, I'm going to the Bahamas. No travel advisory. I ain't never
Hey,
scared.
but listen, man, Ray P's birthday is a national holiday. That's why I'm speaking on it early. It's February 13th when we record this. We're speaking on this early to make sure y'all know, man. Make sure y'all show her some love. Flower her with all the love that she deserves. It is
All
coming
of
up here in a
that.
couple of weeks. But most importantly, Rachel, I'm excited to be back here with you today on the
For
We Got
sure.
Y'all podcast.
For sure.
Shout out to the Culture Garden. We've been holding it down for Romance Month, our second annual Romance Month.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. I'm very excited to record our next episode, which will be coming out this week.
Hmm.
But We Got Y'all has been one of my favorite things to work on, to discuss with you, and I'm excited to kind of get this feedback up. Bear with us, everyone. As happy as we are to be back and talking to everyone, this is going to be a little bit different than our normal standard, episodes that you know us
Yeah.
for. Usually we are discussing series and we're breaking them down episodically. Today is kind of a check-in slash recap of Raising Kanan slash whatever miscellaneous television talk that we get into. I don't
Hybrid.
expect it to be a hybrid episode. It's just going to be natural. We're coming off the top of the dome with this one. I don't
Mhm.
expect it to be super long, but I say that all the time, and then I look up and we're an hour into things. So just
Right.
roll with this. Like I said before, we get into things. Linktree is in the episode description. I mentioned the Culture Garden, School's Guilty Pleasures, which
Hey, shout out to
also is on
school.
the culture. Shout out to School, man. He's cooking something up for y'all that should be coming out maybe at the same time you listen to this.
Okay.
I'm waiting on his final stamp before we get that done, but definitely this week, I'm assuming. And then obviously we have our YouTube page as well. So
Hmm.
things are rolling. We got y'all is back. Let's just go ahead and talk about Raising Kanan season 3, Rachel. That's kind of the main reason why we wanted to check back in. We didn't
Yeah.
have the opportunity, and we talked briefly about this. The start of this in early December was just a terrible time for Rachel and myself as far as our
Hmm.
schedules were concerned, and we just didn't have the time to give Raising Kanan the proper care that it deserves.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do something, we're gonna do it right. However, we are super fans. We watch every single week. We didn't really discuss too much, maybe a couple
We did.
conversations here and there. So this is all going to be fresh, and it's crazy to think that season 3 just ended, and I feel like the series just started. I feel like I see that opening scene with young Kanan and Rock on the
Hmm.
playground and the big earrings and everything else, and just seeing where we are now, it's like, man, how did we get here so fast? Um, I guess my first question for you is, what were your opening thoughts and overall thoughts on season 3?
My overall thoughts, first off, to your point, we were very, very, very busy. And it's crazy because I think my schedule is heavier now than it was then, and it just felt completely um I don't want to say undoable, but we needed that little break. I'm gonna keep it a
Yeah,
buck with you.
100%.
I loved season 3 of Raising Kanan. For me, it's the best season so far, and I've been on the Raising Kanan train since its inception. It's my
Hmm.
favorite spinoff in the Powerverse. I just I love the characters. I'm invested, and I know we keep saying, "When do we meet Ghost and Tommy? When do we meet Ghost and Tommy?" I actually all season I kept thinking that Ghost and Tommy would be one of the runners that Kanan found from the neighbor. I thought that they
Okay.
would be little small hustlers, but we never saw a little white boy. So I said, okay, there's no Tommy. But now I am of the ilk who believes that we meet them season 4.
Okay. Very interesting. And I say that because the way this season, oh, sorry. Should have started with this. If you haven't watched the season, if you haven't finished the season, there will be spoiler
Absolutely.
alerts. So before we, good thing we haven't spoiled anything yet, but please stop, press pause, do all the catching up you need to,
For
then come
sure.
back and check us out. But with how the season ended, the one thing that was on my mind was, wow, that was a masterful 3 seasons that they connected together. And I
Hmm.
think for the first time since Raising Kanan started, I have no idea what's going to happen in season 4. It's
Yeah.
like everything that they had to do in those first 3 seasons, they wrapped up right there. And obviously, we have Unique and a bunch
Hmm.
of other things going into it, but no kind of major, big,
Cliffhanger.
cliffhangers that
Hmm.
we're left with. So it's almost to your point, giving us the opportunity of starting a new story slash new chapter in the
Hmm.
Raising Kanan series, and it makes perfect sense to start introducing some of those characters into the show. It gave me the sense that this can be and I've said it plenty of times. If you listen to We Got Y'all, um, great shows. The way they separate themselves is they know when to end the series. They know when they've told their story. There's a lot of story left in Raising Kanan, and I'm
Yes.
very intrigued to see how many seasons they go. At this point, I'm expecting at least 6. I think you have at least 3 solid more seasons of good storyline. Um,
I agree.
I don't know if you want to take a 7 and stretch it that far, but I do see about 5 or 6 seasons that this could go. Um, what do you think? Let's just get right into Unique. Let's just talk about them
Yeah.
because I don't know if you've been seeing on the Bird or through any kind of internet searches. A lot of people are saying that Unique is Breeze, and if you remember the original Prower, Breeze is who put Ghost, Tommy, and Kanan on.
Hmm.
And that was kind of their OG. And then they set Breeze, Ghost and Tommy set Breeze up, or Ghost, should I say? I don't remember if Tommy had anything to do with it. Set Breeze up, set Kanan up, and then boom, he's a new kingpin.
Yeah.
Did you buy into anything? Well, first, did you believe for once at all that he was dead? And secondly, do you buy into the theory that he might be Breeze?
So to the first answer, the first question of that, I did think that Ronnie was dead. I mean, Unique was dead because
Really?
Ronnie whooped his ass. However, if you watch Power, you know that nobody is dead unless there's a funeral or if it's truly, truly like a bullet through the head, and not a
Yeah,
graze, like straight through, like Howard.
yeah,
you know,
straight up.
something to that effect. And ironically enough, I actually thought Ronnie was Breeze and not
I can see
Unique.
that.
I thought Ronnie, especially once Kanan really started working with him. But the only thing that made me sort of come up off of that is the fact that even though Kanan was little bro, he's a child, he still was low key running Ronnie. And so if he's the OG, that dynamic doesn't work.
Hmm.
I can see. where maybe it's Unique, or maybe it's somebody else who Unique trusted who came up in his camp. But we
Mm-hmm.
know it's not obviously Marvin or Lou. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I do think that it's somebody from Unique's camp that he actually trusts.
Yeah, and I could definitely see that. I can see that happening. Like I said, a lot of answers, a lot of questions that we have to get answers to.
Mhm.
Um, I know I said that there's no real clear storyline entering season 4, but I do want to talk about Unique briefly because I am curious as to what happened. I believe episode 5, My Brother's Keeper, if I'm
Mhm.
remembering correctly, was the title of that episode where we saw Unique take his untimely demise, or so we thought. And here in the finale, we get him back. What do you think was going on with Breeze? How do you think this all connected and came back in full force? Obviously at the end of episode 10, I don't know who was in on it. Was it just Kanan? Was Rocky in the know? Did everybody know a little bit of something but not know everything?
I think maybe I don't know. I don't know.
And I say that
I
because I think Rock, I'm sorry, not to cut you off. I only say that because I think Rock was surprised that Kanan killed Ronnie, but
for
I
sure.
also know that Kanan was surprised that she killed Howard.
Howard. For sure.
And I think
Sure.
Marvin was out of the loop on everything. And it's one
Yeah.
of those things where somebody was working. I just don't know how that came about and where does Unique fit in all of this, because there's no accident that he showed up at that scene. He had to drop on somebody.
Yeah, no, there was absolutely no accident that he showed up. I don't think that Rock knew about the plan with Kanan. I think that she genuinely thought that he was about to play her to the left, given their relationship and the just sort of a foreboding, the people that you love the most, hurt you the most, So there's that. Marvin didn't know anything. I wholeheartedly believe that. Now, there's not much of anything that Rock cannot and does not find out.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we see it in season 4. But either Stefano had Unique or Rock had Unique,
Mm. Mm.
in my opinion. So I got you. You in my house that nobody else is allowed in, nursed you back to health. Here you are. We're the only people other than Pops and Snap who know where this meeting place is. Obviously, Ronnie's henchmen don't know shit. They just following orders. They ain't in on it.
Fair.
So I
That's a
ass
good
has got
point.
popped. They ain't in on it. So that only leaves Kanan, who doesn't know the relationship because of the strain between he and Rock. He doesn't know just how good Rock and Unique actually are. There's
Mm-hmm.
that. Ronnie obviously thought he killed him. So there's that.
Yeah.
It's only between Rock and Stefano who took a liking to Unique.
Yeah, I have. And listen, I don't. I'm taking the deep side because I have no idea. I'm that's the one thing that I'm looking forward to the most when we get the season, as far as
Mhm.
how did he get back in the fold. And I know the writers, which I don't think we've said it explicitly yet.
Yeah.
The writing this season was
Phenomenal.
phenomenal,
Phenomenal.
phenomenal. And if
Phenomenal.
we, like I said, bear with us, y'all, because this is kind of a freestyle conversation. But if we go back to your earlier point, Rachel, about Raising Kanan and this being the best show in the Powerverse,
Mhm.
I think one of the big reasons it is for me is because the acting and the writing is just on a different level than the rest of the
For sure.
shows.
For sure.
Um, I've said this before, and for anybody who's out there, if you haven't done this, go back and rewatch Power. Like, go back and just kind of start season 1 and season 2, and look at those first 2 to 3 seasons compared to the final 3.
Yeah.
And you can just kind of see at some point, and maybe it was there the whole time, but at some point it did shift into a soap opera. It felt
Yeah.
very, it felt like the stuff I would watch with my grandmother in the
Yeah.
kitchen on 85, just because that was her thing. And not to take anything away, but you can some of the things that happen in Raising Kanan and some of the plays that Rock makes and Marvin makes and Lou makes feels a little bit more believable, or a lot more believable for that
Mhm.
matter, than some of the things and the coincidences that need to happen in Power to actually, uh, go off. Now, I don't know if that's because we're in the 80s and
Mhm.
everything just seemed like it was easier to get away with in the 80s.
Yeah.
And Raising Kanan has that benefit, or if it's just that much better writing. It's clever, don't get me wrong. Ghost,
Mhm.
Power is clever writing. Like, it's very clever how certain things happen, but it's also very not realistic.
Yeah,
Versus Raising Kanan, I could see everything happening exactly how it went down.
for
And like
sure.
I said, the acting, just when you talk about Patina Miller, when you talk about Malcolm Mays, when you talk about London Brown, those three right
Mhm.
there, Haley Kilgore,
Killing it.
Omar Epps,
Mhm.
just phenomenal. We didn't even talk about Makai and the transition he made this season specifically to he's got the diction down. I mean, his he
Mhm.
sounds just like
50?
50. I was gonna say Kanan, but he sounds just like 50. He
Yeah,
changed it. You can hear it.
you can
So
hear it,
um
definitely.
yeah, it's definitely a big jump that he's made, and I just think it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I think his acting was phenomenal this season on top of
Yeah.
everyone else. Um, but did you think, going back to this finale in this season, did you think that Ronnie was gonna die? Is that something you were expecting?
Given, uh, I did not think so at the penultimate episode, but in this episode where we know that he takes a shot at Rock and misses, I knew that he was dying this episode because you come for the queen, you best not miss. So
Straight up.
here we are. Now, I did not know that Kanan would be the Ronnie Slayer, but I wholeheartedly believe that Ronnie would die this season, this episode.
Yeah, that was some Arya killing the Night King shit. Um,
Right.
I did not expect that to happen. I guess even more so, it was that small moment between Rock and Kanan
Hmm.
where that wasn't a big deal to her. That was just something that she knew her son. There was no expression or no kind of emotion to the fact that her son is now this person, and she's tried so hard to protect Kanan from this life. And I think the whole time she knew, like, nah, this is who he is. And now,
Hmm.
granted, you're in a situation where you're saving my life, but even then, like, Rock and her had that moment. And I know there's a lot of things that were tied up between the relationship this season, but they just had that moment where she kind of looked and like, all right, this is my son. She acknowledged it. She accepted it.
To your point, I think that she's always kind of known,
Mm-hmm.
especially first off, consider the family. Juke has tried to stay out of it, as to which I'm kind of heartbroken at her turn because we see in all three of these seasons, yeah, she might do a little thieving, she can whoop ass, definitely. We saw that this season too. But
Mm-hmm.
Juke was still very much out of the fray. My family does that. I don't do that. Um Kanan, however, was desperate to want to be a kingpin. He wanted the notoriety and the infamy of being DEFCON's son and Rock's son, just because of what that means for street cred and whatever. We see him have the desire when we meet him in Power, to get his spot back. And so now watching the first three seasons, him clamor for it, make so many mistakes, l- mostly learned from them. So I,
Somewhat.
yeah, somewhat. So I just was not surprised. I think that the moment between Rock and Kanan in the warehouse, for me, it wasn't an acknowledgement of this is who you are, it is what it is. I genuinely think she thought that he played her. So it was more of a,
Mm,
oh, you are my son. I did raise you right. You know what I'm saying? You caught that,
mm,
not an acknowledgement of this is the life, because Rock has already accepted to me that this is the life that you've chosen. I
yeah.
had to go out my way. Again, if you watch the season, I had to go out my way to get job and family services involved or child welfare involved to get you back home, because again, you're choosing the life that I don't want for you. Even with her involved, I know that you're threatening the social worker, all of this shit, you making runs, you running with Ronnie, an enemy. This is what you've chosen. And I think that she somewhat accepted it. She was willing to not go to war with Pops and Snap because of Kanan. She's willing to
Hmm.
do things to protect her son, even still, even though he's chosen a path that she did not have in mind for him, which was crazy because most of the time you're gonna be a product of your environment.
Nah,
And
that's
as
real.
much
And
as
I'm
Juke tried to avoid it, here she was back in it in Baltimore.
right, right. And I'm
Mhm,
glad that you said that because it is a good reminder that they were estranged
mhm.
for majority of the season. They were
Majority of the
estranged
season.
as mother and son, and we, like I said, I mentioned that first scene in season one, where they're kind of connected at the hip, and we know how much Rock cares about Kanan and how
Mhm,
much she has an imprint in his life and everyone else's life. Really, Rock is a control freak. She's
mhm.
not controlling it, then it's just she just can't trust it. Um, I think that was a very good decision by the writers because it gave us the opportunity. We have to remember Kanan is the biggest, baddest, um, worst type of nigga in regards of I will do whatever it takes
Yeah.
to accomplish what I need to accomplish. And Kanan, as we see him in this series, is still a kid that coming of age. I think we needed that separation from him and
Mhm.
Rock to kind of see him gain his bearing. You saw it
Yeah.
a little bit. I felt like this was the first season where Kanan is starting to become Kanan.
Mhm.
Not saying he didn't have things that he already did, but think about the hesitation he had when he had to shoot Howard. That would
Mhm.
never happen in today's version or, whatever year we're in, 1991, 1992 version of Kanan. I
Yeah.
think no hesitation. He's pulling that trigger because he's
Mhm.
accepted that about himself. Um, you were going to say something, my bad.
I was gonna say, well, he also was still a kid. That's his
Yeah,
first shot. My first shot is you wanting to kill my father? What the fuck? Whether I know he's my father at this point or not, like that was still gonna be his first kill.
yeah,
Y'all wasn't taking Kane into the range like that. He don't really know how to shoot. Y'all might have did a couple little drills in the backyard, but he wasn't
right.
out here at the range, you know? So,
Yeah. Even what he did with Famous, like just the way he punked Famous and took his
mhm,
spot over, walk on your trap and take over your trap. How you gonna
crazy.
kick a nigga out of his crib?
And we
You
saw
know what I
him do
mean? But
that in
yeah,
Power. So
we
he
saw him
wasn't
do
new
that
to
in
it. He was
Power.
true to it. Mhm,
Exactly. He did it here with Famous. Also, just the way he was talking to Ronnie, because
mhm.
Ronnie was painted as the big bad wolf, this crazy
Yeah.
character, and obviously we saw the memes and things like that with his stoic demeanor online,
Mhm,
almost Michael Myers esque. But
mhm.
however, Kanan wasn't going for none of that shit, grown man or not. Like
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
there was, I think that was this past episode, the finale, when Ronnie said, "I don't take an order for a boy." He said, "I ain't who
Mhm.
you think I am." And I
Yeah.
believe Kanan. Like I believe them.
Yeah.
Whereas, like I said earlier, season one, season two, it's a little bit harder to trust that judgment. But
Mhm.
now it's like, nah. I know you made a wire reference earlier, but big dog, big paws on a puppy. Like
Yeah.
he might be a kid, but you can tell this ain't just no normal kid. Like Kanan
Exactly.
is really about that. Even the way he was handling the I want to say his name was Paul,
Mhm.
the guy in the building with the runners.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even the way he handled his situation and everything, like he found out a way to get things done, and that's the only way you really learn. Like this is my school. This is school of hard knocks, as they say.
Mhm.
Trial and error. Everything that he needed done, he found out a resource to get it done. Child welfare, job and family services. Oh, that's the
Mhm.
woman right there. Go ahead. I'm gonna stick Ronnie on her. All types of
Crazy.
shit. All types of shit. So it was a great job of seeing his growth and seeing
Mhm.
the supervillain that Kanan is going to turn into, while still holding these boyish qualities. Speaking of boyish qualities, is this Sean that's conceived in this season? Is that what we're supposed to believe?
I think so, unless Crystal has an abortion.
Yeah, because we have to remember when we first meet Sean, when we find out Sean is Kanan's dad, I remember the first time seeing it, like, yo, how old was Kanan? 11?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he has to be, doing that
16.
here pretty soon. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Because I think Tasha Smith, if I'm not mistaken,
Tasha
Tasha
Smith
Smith
plays his mother. Mhm.
played his mother on the show. So I'm wondering, I can't remember her name on Power, but I'm wondering if that's the same person.
I know, I
But
would
it
have to
makes
go
total
back
sense.
and watch.
Yeah, it makes complete sense if that was the case. And speaking of his baby mom, if that is, I want to talk about Butter. So you mentioned Juke's turn this season.
Mhm.
Um, I wanted so much more for Juke.
Yeah,
I wanted so much more for Juke because I thought Butter was really something that could have had some more legs than it did.
for
I
sure.
hate the fact that they got their big break and then the special agent comes in and kind of shuts everything down. Then
Ain't
there's
that it
rumblings
though?
about that is it. That's how it works. Shout out to the mall performances. Shout out to the mall performances. I'll never forget. Shout out to my boy Good. Mama
Yeah.
Goody. I remember Mama Goody. It was summertime and we was over his crib. And I remember Destiny's Child was coming to the mall that was like 5 minutes away from his crib, right? And it's one of
Mhm.
those things where you still, obviously, it sounds crazy now to think Destiny's Child in the mall, but this is 2000.
Yeah.
Um, so it's still believable. And I'll never forget. She was like, "Y'all want to go up there?" And we was like, "Hell yeah, we want to go see Destiny's Child." So we all got in the whip. She took us up there, and lo and behold, Beyonce, Kelly, Michelle were all in the mall. They didn't perform, but it was like a meet and greet type of
Mhm.
situation. But I was that close to all three members of Destiny's Child, and it was
Yeah.
just a cool experience. Sorry, but that moment in the episode just reminded me of how cool malls used to be.
The
Um,
mall performance and cameo promo used to be a really big thing. That also just reminded me of How I Met Your Mother, where Robin Schabotsky in
let's
Canada
go to
was
the
like,
mall.
"Let's go to the
Go
mall
to the mall today. Yeah.
today." She was a singer, a Canadian pop star, and she did all of them mall performances, and it just random.
Uh, Shout out to
But
How
yeah,
I Met
it
Your
was
Mother,
a
man.
thing. Well, I know we have a somewhat of a younger audience, but back in the day, that was a thing.
Absolutely, it was 100% was. But I really thought that there was going to be something for Butter. Um, I I saw it. I saw this coming the whole season. I can't
Mhm.
remember her name, her other group mate's name that she
Aisha.
ended up having. Aisha.
Mhm.
Oh, you saw it. You saw the way Juke
Awesome.
was looking at her all
Mhm.
season, and she did that awkward. Oh yeah, my cousin. I don't really care about that, even though she really did care. And
Mhm.
obviously, I'm sure in the '80s, exploring your sexuality like that, and not knowing if this person that you have eyes for even rolls that way or is into
Yeah,
you in that way. But you could tell there was some kind of mutual love there, regardless of what
for
form.
sure. For
And
sure.
it was great to see Jukebox, especially after Nicole. What's her name, right? Nicole?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Especially after Nicole find kind of that vulnerability again in
For
someone.
sure.
Um, and someone that just similar to Nicole that we trust as an audience.
Mhm.
We don't think she's out here trying to do Juke dirty. She really cares and has strong feelings for Juke. I don't know if
Yeah,
Juke is
she
actually
was
going to
gonna
be
hold
end
her
up.
down.
You said what?
She told Juke she was gonna hold her down.
She definitely said
Please
that,
don't
and Juke
wait.
was like, "Stop." Juke said, "Stop fucking lying." Like that's not gonna happen. It sounds good right now, but that shit ain't gonna
Yeah,
happen, especially as teens. Oh, the naivete of being young, because you mean that shit you be saying at that age.
right.
You really mean that shit, and then you start living a little bit like, oh nah, I'm on to the
Mhm.
next.
Mhm.
Um, does Juke go to the military?
I think she does. I think
I
she
can't remember.
does go to the military, and that's how she ends up becoming a police officer in Baltimore.
Mm, yeah, because I'm thinking about the transition because even without the army being an option, Juke, you can tell, is ready for something new. She's ready for her
Mhm.
own. imprint in this world.
Yeah.
And we know her path and we know what she ends up doing. However, I just don't know how she gets there, similar to what I talked about with Unique and how he gets to where he is.
I think that was saying you got to come out. As much as she tried to escape the life, the family business is the family business.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the foreboding of Juke becoming close with oh damn it, the white cop who died with Shannon.
Burke,
I can't,
Detective
Burke,
Burke.
Detective
Mm-hmm.
Burke. So those are seeds planted. Okay. I could be a cool cop. I could do something else other than crime, maybe. And so her desire, remember when she signs up or she goes to try to enlist, this is before there's even any thought of butter coming about. This is her only option.
Mm-hmm.
Either she leaves and joins the military or she stays here and gets caught up in the bullshit. Even though, again, she was not running to the trouble like Kanan. She was abreast of everything that was happening. Marvin is her father. She knows things, she's seeing things, she understands things. Honestly, in a way that for as smart as Kanan is, he don't know what Juke know.
Right.
He ain't been where Juke been. So
Yeah.
it's just a little different. And so because you have that, and maybe we see something go awry, I don't think she's dishonorably discharged or anything, because I don't think they're gonna let you be a police officer after that, but maybe, who knows? Um Something pulls her back in. And I think maybe it's something that has to do with the family in and of itself.
Hmm. That is, I never thought about it until you were just talking um, about what options. I just thought about that Biggie line. Either you slinging, either you slinging crack, either you slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot, right?
Yeah,
Just kind of
yeah.
saying like these are your options to go out the hood, but all of those options are always directed towards young men. And I never thought about like a young black woman who wants to get out of her circumstance. Like, what options are there for her?
A young black
Like, not,
stud.
yeah, like, who's still trying to find herself and connect with herself. And if we go back to the beginning of season 3, just lost her mom, who she didn't have a real relationship with, but is very traumatic nonetheless. Um, Jukebox reminds me, and you make the point about how she knows, Kanan don't know what she know, and a lot of people don't. She
Mhm,
moves very stealth-like. It makes sense for her to have a career in law enforcement. She
mhm,
almost reminds me like of a and the terms, I guess, good and bad are subjective in these cases,
mhm.
but she almost reminds me of a good little finger. Just knows
Okay.
how to work her way around. Like
Mhm.
I'm not in the mix, but I know everything that's going
I know
on. I
everything
kind
that's
of,
going on.
yeah,
Mhm,
I mind my business. People tell me information. I got it in my
mhm,
back pocket. I'm not volunteering it, but if I need
mhm.
to, I got it. She just
Yep.
knows how to move.
Mhm.
You could tell that when she was hustling, and in earlier seasons. So I think you laid that out pretty perfectly for her. It, we like I said, we know she's going to end up being a police officer. I just wonder what her breaking point is to the point where she has to get out of Queens, and
Mm.
what does this world look like without Jukebox in the picture? Is this a season long thing? Is this multiple seasons? I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah, I hope it's not a multiple seasons thing, because I love what she brings to the show.
Mm-hmm.
I love her relationship with Kanan, her relationship with Rock, even the transition of her relationship with Marvin. Like, I just
My
really,
favorite moment is
yeah.
my favorite moment of the season was their relationship, him being the teen singer
Mhm,
dad, but just
mhm.
everything that they were able, the way they were able to communicate, his reaction when he found out, when he saw Aisha, and the way she was looking at her, like, okay, then I
He
see you.
peeped it.
Like, just
He peeped
it
it.
was just he peeped it, man, and it was just such a far cry from that. Oh man, such a gut wrenching scene, that fight that they had in her room.
Yeah, which was
Um,
also extremely believable, considering y'all in
Extremely
the
believable,
80s. This shit
and
ain't
you
out in
don't
the
come.
open. You don't do that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, you don't. I think anybody who watches Kanan would say, like, I didn't see how they bounced back from that. That was so intense and so, if you're Juke, so hurtful. And like I
Mhm.
said, even as a viewer who's watched everything, it's still one of those, oh my goodness, this is hard to see because you
Yeah.
care so much about both of those characters in their own way, and you want Marvin to do better. You want more for Juke. And it was just a great thing for the audience to be able to see them work
Mhm.
their way back to this place to where they're
Mhm.
actually father daughter. And
Yeah.
he accepts her and knows who she is and the whole nine. And she got his back too. And he just want, even when he blew up at the audition and things, he just wants what's best for Juke.
Yeah.
He's
It was
excited
from a
for his
good
daughter.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Real quick before we get into the time of siblings, I do want to talk about Howard real quick when I talk about famous.
For
Howard,
sure.
in my opinion, that was the only way out for him. Once you start multiple times bringing up that Marvin got to take the fall,
He had to
I think
go.
Rock had to
Like,
because you're too dangerous. You're already a cop, whether you're in good standing or not. You still know some people. Obviously, we saw that when you picked up Lou. You know, you
mhm.
still was able to get Lou off the street and the whole nine. You're too connected and you know too much
Yep.
to have you out here feeling like your back is against the wall. Because now, if your
Yep.
back is against the wall, and Rock peeped it quick, he came in her crib and she said, "They on us or they on you?"
That part.
It sounds
And
like they
she's
on you, and if they on, go ahead.
no, I'm saying, and she's been asking. Rock
Mm-hmm.
didn't just find out that episode. Mind you, he's been trying to push it on Marvin the last 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got something. You might want to give Marvin up. You might want to give Marvin up. Somebody got to go. Somebody got to take the fall. It's not going to be you and Kanan. Nigga, you, for all that Howard is, and shout out to you for looking out, for wanting to at least try to be a father figure. I know you were undercover. You tricked
Mm-hmm.
a 16-year-old girl into fucking with you. Okay, as an adult, side eye, you ain't like them. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have the same codes as them. Yes, I might protect your secrets because I don't want to implicate myself in no bullshit, but you don't abide by the same thing. And I believe he's our only child. We are siblings. I'm not throwing my brother under the bus if I can help it.
Sound
And
crazy, right?
you, instead of trying to help, he said we're co-conspirators in this, but you're not trying to do something to help the family that you are now claiming to be a part of.
Right.
You're self-serving. And if you know me so much, not 16-year-old Rock, 30-some-year-old Rock, nigga, that does not fly. You can't be selfish in this shit. You need to keep your eyes and ears open. But we're a team. That's the only way we survive is by us looking out for each other and making sure shit's sweet. Like I'm never giving my brother up to the feds. He already went to jail when he was on that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You think I'm doing that again? What the fuck is wrong with you? He had to go. After I watched the finale the first time, I tweeted, "Streets need a body."
Straight up,
Because
man.
Howard had to fucking go. He
He
had
left
to
himself
go.
no
It was
choice.
past time.
He,
It was past time.
yeah, he put himself in that box. You know, he
Literally.
like I said, you know too much. What other option do we have? Because we know
Mhm.
getting damn well, you've already proved by this Marvin talk that if it's between us and them, you're gonna pick, you know,
Exactly.
yourself every single time. So you got to go. That made absolute sense, and I didn't mind it with all the shit that was coming down on him at the job. Um, it just didn't seem. Going back to what I said earlier, when you want to talk about believable writing, I don't know what story they could have put together to make us to redeem his character and get him back in good stand. There
Nothing.
was nothing. The only way to do was to go,
Nothing.
which I'm cool with. They did his story. They did everything they needed to with that. Um, Detective Howard, man, got rocked, but he did it to himself.
He's for
He did
sure,
it
for
to
sure.
himself.
I don't know why, but this whole episode where he was pleading with Rock about basically throwing Marvin under the bus, all I kept thinking about was Juice.
For real?
He was like, Raheem's dead. Somebody shot him. When Pac did all of that. That's how Howard was acting. Like
He
you
was.
oblivious and guilty. Like you trying to play both sides and you look crazy. Rock, I'm so happy that Rock ain't no damn fool. But she said something. Somehow I'm the problem, I'm the cause and the solution at the same damn time.
Mm-hmm.
Nigga, she got to do everything herself. You sent Kanan to shoot
Yes.
this nigga. He didn't get the job done. You got to do it.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's funny
You,
because I know you mentioned Juice. I was
mhm.
thinking about In Too Deep, and I just kept thinking, you ain't no cop, Jay Reed. Just with all the bullshit he was pulling off in that and throughout the whole episode and series. Um, any sympathy for Howard at all?
I feel bad for Howard. I think that being an undercover police officer in a hood that you still have to low key serve once you're outed, once you're out from undercover, I think that causes for you to have a lonely life. You know, he was alone. We found out he
Mm-hmm.
had cancer in season 2, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Your son tried to kill you that you just found out about, even though you've only tried to help and save his life. Once you knew exactly who he was, your partner knew that some shit was funny, and she basically was kicking all the dust up from your life. Um, I feel bad for Howard because that's a horrible way to go. And I think that had he have been able to transfer to the other department or to the feds, wherever he was trying to go, I think that he would have had an opportunity for a better and a different life. Because that's the thing. Probably back then, if you're an officer in the city, you have to live within the limits of the city. Like you have to be
Yeah.
within a certain radius, because that's
Mm-hmm.
how we were. You got to be in the city if you want to be a city officer. So where was he gonna go? He still lived in the midst of all of the shit.
Mm-hmm.
People that he probably put away. Everybody knows you a cop. Everybody know you police.
Mm-hmm.
What piece is that? No, they ain't bothering you, but you ain't no Alonzo. You can't move around the way that you really want to. Don't nobody want you. It would have to be
Yeah.
somebody from outside.
And the respect level, that immunity that you get for
Mhm.
being a cop goes down a lot when you a dirty cop. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like the streets find their reason to make it okay. Because it's
Mhm.
not like we're just killing a cop. This is somebody who's in the
Mhm.
game too. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Playing the dirt, you get dirty. So that's just kind
Exactly.
of how it works. Um, you mentioned streets needing a body. Just briefly, just want to talk about Famous real quick.
Shout out to
Um,
Famous.
Shout out to Famous, man. A character who in season one I never would have thought A would still be around in this
Yeah.
capacity, and B that I enjoy. Like he's
Redemption for
goofy.
Famous.
Yeah, he's goofy, but he's starting to find his own track. And we saw a lot of the emotional weight that he was carrying from
Mhm.
the body that he did catch.
Yeah.
And this is a story as old as time. Every hood, air quotes, throughout the country, you can find the story of the kid who was confused about what his life is about,
Mhm.
dabbles in that street life, and realizes very quickly, like, oh shit, this is not me.
Oh, this is
Um,
not for me.
this is not for me. I'm a rapper, nigga. I'm not about this robbing shit. I'm not about this killing shit because we got to remember he did not go into that whole situation looking to kill him. He was just trying to get his get back. And then
Right.
he ended up catching a body and then realized the weight of that is way too much.
Mhm.
Um, and he had to get it out. We heard it in his song. Um, Lou even felt it, and we'll talk about Lou drunk ass in a minute. But just that releasing that energy and releasing that kind of pain from your
Mhm.
system,
Mhm.
it was an interesting thing to see because, like I said, we got to see him mature and grow up a little bit, and then it ends with him being in a holding room for this murder because
Yeah.
they put the gun in mom's, bro. What you doing turning
He's
into
an
guns?
idiot.
God, what the fuck?
He's an idiot. Even if he told you that he did some things he can't take back, why would you turn this gun in? Why not throw it in the river? Something. Why would you take this to the police that your son has it? That means his prints are on it. Famous again, not a street nigga. He's just a kid
Mm-hmm.
who's in the neighborhood. We went to school together. He's not about that life. Why would you do that? And now you want to play, oh, I didn't know what to do. Girl, you knew better than
I'm like,
that.
nigga, I'm like, nigga, we in Queens. Keep that shit. You never, we in Queens. Like, you never
That
know
part,
when we gonna need that.
that
Just
part,
hold on
that
to it. Worst case scenario, get a gun box, get a safe, get something.
that
But you
part.
just can't
But
be
shout
having
out to
these.
Famous. He really did hold it down. You know, he wasn't going. I don't think that Famous snitches. I don't think he tells. I hope that okay, jumping. Lou comes home and this rap shit takes off for Famous.
Mm-hmm.
That is my hope. On the other side, Famous goes to jail.
Yeah. And Famous ain't built for jail.
And Famous ain't built for jail.
Um, Not long term. Not long term. He's got the personality and skills, I guess, to survive, but not in the way that you need to survive in jail. He ain't built for that. And I don't know who his rabbi is. I don't know who's the one that's there for Famous to say we gonna get you out the situation. Rocking them ain't invested enough to really step up and help him out.
They don't
Kanan, I
even
don't think has enough pull.
know.
Yeah, they don't know what's going on. Kanan, I guess, will be responsible for it, but I don't think he has enough pull to get some shit like that done. Um,
And Howard is dead.
so, and Howard's dead. And Howard already hooked you up and hooked you out. Obviously,
Mhm.
this Howard death is going to play a big part into a lot of these investigations and a lot of these storylines because obviously that should set Marvin free and a lot of other people. But I
Does
don't
it?
know. We'll see.
I think it brings more heat.
I guess yeah. I guess you know what you got a point because they're going to find his body in this random ass warehouse with Ronnie,
Mhm.
with the other security guard bodies. I mean, it's going to
Mhm.
confirm that he was in some dirty shit.
Mhm.
Of course, it's only one way to look. When you find Officer Howard dead, they're going to go straight to Marvin. So you do have a good point there.
Mhm.
Um, Man, I'm already ready for season 4. Like I'm
I'm
ready for it.
ready.
I'm ready for it. But let's go ahead and wrap things up and talk about the Thomas siblings. Um, Listen, I guess we got to start with Lou. I I don't know. I remember how we got here with Lou.
Mhm.
Um, I mentioned earlier when I was talking about fame, it's just carrying that weight and carrying that with you. And even though Lou, the difference is Lou is expected to do it. You're from this life, you know what this is about, you know what your responsibilities are. This shouldn't be a surprise. Um, it reminds me of one of my favorite moments of the entire season when Rock pulled up on Juliana
Mhm.
and ended her. And she had that, the monologue just talking about something like, see, I want to feel that shit. Like I want to sit in that shit. I want to know that shit.
Yeah.
Um, and that's a difference. I mean, that's a character trait. There are people who are just built in that way. Like I don't just want the
Mhm.
good, I want the bad too. Because
Yeah.
I told you, Rock's a control freak. She has to be able
Mhm.
to know how to manage all of these feelings so nothing captures her off guard.
Mhm.
I don't know at what point we realized that Lou wasn't built for this, but man, it was just kind of.
Season 1.
I didn't think it was going to lead to this though. I just didn't see it. I didn't think it was going to lead to this. I know he wasn't the same because look at Marvin. Marvin was a fuck up season 1. And
Yeah.
he's the MVP of season 3 to me.
For sure. For sure. For
Obviously
sure.
Rock is the easy choice, but Marvin's his MVP. So it does show you that characters can be redeemed.
Mhm.
But damn, Lou, like what the fuck you got going on?
But see, here's the thing. Season 1 where Lou is taking the shot at I can't think of his name right now, but he was Unique's number 2 basically. This nigga's naked in the bed. How you miss these shots? It has to be on purpose, or
That's
it's
right.
just not in you. like that. But given what we saw from Lou in the subsequent seasons, it wasn't in it. He did it because he had to. This is, to your point, the expectation. My big sister, the most important person in the world to me, this is what she does, and she expects me to follow in her footsteps. My big brother Marvin, this is what he does. I have to do this too because this is what we do. Lou always wanted to not do this. He's always wanted to get up from under rock. It wasn't just about wanting to prove himself, make his own money with the music shit, which I'm glad we find out that their father was a musician. And so that's the connection.
Mm-hmm.
But he had been trying to get out the game. But the
Yeah.
scrap shit, and I'm wondering, I know that Scrap worked really closely with them, but I'm wondering if he and Lou were closer in age and were friends, because he took Scrap's death harder than Marvin. That was the turning point for Lou, where he really just could not come back from all of the shit.
Yeah,
His
Scrap fucked them up.
Yeah.
I think that you were absolutely right. I think they were closer in age. I think that they spent a lot of time probably coming through the ranks together. It's almost
Mhm.
like Lou was accelerated because of what his last name was.
Right.
Um, but Scrap was, and on top of that, Scrap was a solid dude, and
Mhm.
we knew that. We
Yeah.
knew that as listeners, and Lou was kind of our avatar for us as we
Mhm.
see the good. We know that he's not snitching. We know
Mhm.
all of that, and he didn't deserve that ending that he got. Um, that was a very good point. I forgot. I completely forgot about Worrell. Um,
Worrell. Mhm.
yeah, I think I completely forgot about Worrell and that close range shots that he had to take him out, and just wasn't able to do it. And that was 100% was a choice. And that
Mhm.
was probably the first time that we knew that Lou's not like these other two. And
Yep.
there's a different type of thing for him. And we even see, trigger warning. We see at the end of this episode an attempt or potential, at least the thought, in
Mhm.
the starting process of unaliving himself, and then
Mhm.
looking in that mirror and realizing that he can't do it.
Yeah.
Him getting into rehab was, I never once, for 1 second at the end in the penultimate episode, thought that they were going to put Lou out to pasture. It wouldn't have surprised me if that was the case, but I
I
just
know.
didn't see it. That and that goes to
I
the
know.
that goes to the incredible acting performance, not just
Mhm.
by Patina Miller, but I think London Brown really carried that
Yeah.
scene,
Yeah.
as far as the indecisiveness because of the look on his face, that expression acting, the way he handed him the bottle, just kind of that sadness. He almost had the same feeling that Lou had about Scrap,
Mhm.
and Lou had about was it D Nice?
Yeah.
Not D Nice, excuse me. Yeah, whatever in season one. I'm thinking about DJ D Nice. Damn, what was his name? Kanan's
Crown?
friend. No, not Crown.
Oh,
Kanan, that Lou Rocks.
that Lou, I don't know. Little boy.
I'll look it up in a second. Either way, it kind of gave me that same feeling, where that
Mhm.
pain was on your face. Like this is something I don't want to do, but this is part of the game, and that's the difference between Lou and everyone else.
Mhm.
Everyone else realizes this is part of the game. This is what we signed up for. D Wiz was his name. D
D
Wiz.
Wiz.
Um,
Mhm.
he didn't see that. He didn't see it that way. Lou wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants it to be one way, but it's really
Mhm.
the other way. He thinks there's a
Yeah.
way you can kind of live this morally correct life,
Mhm.
um, while also being in this game, and it just doesn't work. They don't mix. It just there's no way
Yeah.
you can get around it. You have
Yeah.
to have a little bit of that. A little bit of your soul has to be gone in order to survive that world. And if
Mhm.
you have any kind
Mhm.
of good heartedness about you, you dead.
Yeah.
So that's another one. I just don't. I don't want to see another season of Lou that way. I want to see him
I
either be more
don't.
productive at what he wants to do, or Howard him.
See
Just
you
kind
doing
of
something
hit.
more productive with your time than bids. I I definitely don't want to see Lou down bad and downtrodden like this again. If he does, I would almost rather you go sit down for a little while. or they take you out to pasture, because I don't want to see that. It
I, taking you out the
it
pasture is
doesn't bode
one.
well for the family if you out here, you're the weakest link. And we saw him hold his own with the feds. So he still has that, but I think it takes a lot of work, and they have to take him out the game. Like he can't do it. He
So
said he can't
in
write
the
them
real,
checks no more.
yeah, he did say that, and I believe him when he says it. I
For sure.
guess how much of that visit, excuse me, in the finale, how much do you think Rock listened to that and just kind of saw it, like, you know what? Because that was a real sweet moment between those two, especially
Hmm.
when you think about how that scene started and where it ended with them by the car, and her realizing that, damn, maybe I did put a little bit too much on you. Um, Not saying there's nothing that Rock has done to show us that she's got that level of compassion in her,
Hmm.
outside of anyone but Kanan.
Yeah.
But what does Lou do
He works at
that
the bar.
keeps him keeps him clean and still connected to the family? Or can you be connected to the family? Are you a nomad? Are you on your own now?
They love him too much for him to be a nomad, but he's just not in the business.
Not, yeah, exactly. Not a nomad in that sense. I'm sorry. Like, you're still connected to us, but you just we
They
I
can't.
don't
He's
know what
too
to
much
do
of
with
a
you, bro.
liability. There's too much of a liability. The Howard and Ronnie deaths, something is going to brew from this, because now, honestly, we have to prepare. And maybe the penultimate, Snaps and Pops said, we're Switzerland until we ain't. With the death of
Mhm.
Ronnie, this pushes them out of Switzerland.
Fair.
Maybe, maybe. I mean, they was fucking with Ronnie, but I don't know how much they was baking on Kanan being the top dog. So here we are.
That's a good
That
point.
is something that they have to face. We got to see where that goes, because that meeting with Marvin and them was not the end of it. We see them again. We have to.
Oh yeah, snap and pop.
Yeah, we
Have
have
to,
to.
have to. You got to bring them back because that's not. They're fucking with their. She's fucking with their investment, as they said, and
Exactly.
that's just not something that just goes away. Like, oh, Ronnie dead. Oh well. We
Hmm.
know who killed Ronnie.
Yep. And
We know you
so
owe
is
down. Just, I'm wondering if the Italian, she brought
Stefano.
that 500K. Yeah, Stefano. She
Hmm.
brought that 500K, but she didn't need it. So I wonder if there's gonna be some funny style business with that. Like, I bring it back to you, but now the vig already done started. I need more. I need a favor. I need this or that. I don't think
So
it's gonna be as clean as a, oh my bad, false alarm. I didn't need this anyway. Here's your 500,000. No harm, no foul. Like, nah, I don't think it works like that.
I thought the Vig was she was in a bind, Nate.
You think so? I didn't get
Yeah.
that.
And I hope your son knows how much you love him. She said me too, and so did Marvin. 500,000 is a lot of
I
money.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't get it like that. But you
He
could
already
be
told me he
right
got a
because there
crush on
was.
her. He in his role. He giving her the eyes.
Man, what the fuck?
How much you love your son?
Mm, damn, that is some I'm in a bind. Nate moments. Damn, I hope that's not the case because I don't want to see that. Um, Speaking of which, this is random. Speaking of which, if you had to put
Happy
a
birthday,
percentage
Nate.
on it,
Huh?
yes, shout out, yeah, happy birthday, Nate. If you had to put a percentage on it, what are the odds that Symphony comes back?
Who is Symphony?
Her dude that she was rocking with, Kanan, the
Oh,
one that took Kanan.
he's gone.
You
He's
think
gone.
so?
There's no reason for him to come back now. Why?
There isn't, but I just feel similar to how I felt about Unique. Like, sometimes characters don't, their story doesn't feel like it's done. And even when he left, it just didn't feel like it was all the way done. It made sense. It was a good write off, but I just feel like there's more for that character to give. I could be completely by myself on this one.
I
but
ain't
I
thought
just
about
felt
that
that
nigga
there was a
since
little
he
bit
left.
more. Okay, okay,
Good
that's fair.
riddance.
That's fair.
You think I feel sorry for that bitch? I don't.
Well,
No,
we can go
I
ahead and
don't. So I don't see the reason.
and
It
that's
would
fair. There
really
is no
surprise
reason.
me if he did. It would.
Yeah.
It would really surprise
You say he would be a cop?
me. No, I say it would really surprise me if he did.
Ah,
Because you know what? When and during season one and a few episodes in season two, when we did see him, I really didn't know if he was somebody to be watchful and mindful of. I still didn't know if he was undercover or if he was truly just a morsel of goodness in Rock's life, in her treacherous ass life. I don't know. So if he does come back, I would be more inclined with the former, like, nah, it was some shit. I seen some shit, but I actually ended up fucking with you. So, I don't know.
mm,
Let me protect you a little bit. I got your
mm,
son out of here, even though he's back. But I did some
yeah.
things. It would be Howard-esque.
I don't know, man. Something about I don't know, Rachel. Something about that nigga just makes me think he's gonna check on Rock. I don't know, man. That just didn't feel like it was all the way done how it needed to be done. I could be completely wrong, and I'm comfortable being on this hill by myself. But something just tells me Symphony still got some checking in to do, or a
Okay.
job brings them back to the city or something.
We're
I
about
just don't
16
just
episodes out. So we'll see.
yeah. I listen. It just they like to keep us on our toes with certain things.
For sure.
But I do acknowledge the fact that that's probably completely left field and that's not going to happen.
Mhm.
Just to wrap things up, Marvin, Rock, um, like I said, the co MVPs of the season for me.
For
Um,
sure.
the way that Marvin held Rock down this season, and where she had nowhere to turn,
Mhm.
and nobody really reliable. Even that love that she gets from her son was gone. And to
Mhm.
have Marvin, as I mentioned earlier, from what we saw in season one to where he is now, a trusted and reliable confidant, consigliere. I
Mhm.
need this done, and you get the shit done. You got to go up in the post office on your fucking poetic justice shit and do
Yeah.
whatever you need to do, and you blowing people's brains out and getting these hits done, or you setting things up and finding out information on the street. Even his personal character development, as far as the time he had with Gerald and
Mhm.
wanting to be a better version of himself and really
Yeah.
using that class and the breathing tactics in the play. Like you
Mhm.
just see a whole new Marvin as somebody that you like, all right, this is the I know, right? This is the Marvin that could have led this family. It could have been that
He's
one.
finally the big brother.
Finally, a big brother. Absolutely. He's
Mhm.
accepted his role and who he is. Like, I don't have to be top dog to be big brother. I can always be
That
that.
that part.
I can always be that. And it was just, I can't tell you. And I've always liked London Brown as an actor anyway.
Mhm.
And I've always liked Martin, even with his fuck ups and even with the like I said, the terrible scene with Jukebox. He still brought something to this role.
Mhm.
They give him that Rusty. If anybody who's watched Ocean's 11, Brad Pitt's character Rusty, every single scene he's eating something. Marvin has that same characteristic,
Yeah.
and there's just something that he brings to it. You just feel confident in what he's saying. You believe what he's saying,
Mhm.
and this is the season where he put all the pieces together. And that's why I think when you get on the Bird app and you get online and you search the feeds, that's why everybody's screaming like protect Marvin at all costs. Like, hey,
For
well, if
sure.
anything happens to Marvin, I promise we flipping this bitch over.
That's
Like that's the one character that you can't. And I think it flipped because I think Lou might have been a little bit towards the beginning of the series, and
Mhm.
that was Marvin completely. Like, nah, bro, we ain't playing about Marvin. We ride,
For sure.
like we ride. So and Rock is Rock, man. I think some of the most enjoyable. Dare I say, she's on a very not dare I say, excuse me, I'll take that back. I'm saying this confidently. She's on a very short list of dramatic actors that are working on television shows right now. I don't know if you can name me four better performances. I'm not gonna say she's the best because I don't watch everything, but
Mhm.
I can't say that she's lower than five, and I know she's not five. Like what
Yeah.
she does is phenomenal. And she's
Yeah.
just completely she's just overall talented.
Her
I
range
mentioned
is
that scene with
crazy.
Julie. Yeah, I mentioned that scene with Juliana. She still has my favorite moment in the entire series, which was that scene with Lou at the new house at the end of
Mhm.
season 2. That I own you nigga scene. I still get goosebumps when I look
Yeah.
at that scene because of the way it was acted. And I mean literal goosebumps. I catch myself like, yo, what the fuck?
Mhm.
Because you felt that emotion in her. And if you like myself or Rachel and you're just tired of telling the motherfucker the same thing over and over again, you kind of hit that point. You kind of hit that point where like, yo, for real, like I've been trying to be cool about this shit, but we done
Yeah.
had so many conversations. Let me get this shit straight right now, so you stop asking.
Mhm.
Just the
Mhm.
way she performed it, um, I don't know how many words or adjectives that you can use to describe Bettina Miller and what she brings to this role, but 65% of what this show is because of her
Yeah.
and because of what she brings with that one character. And I believe rocking every scene. It's
Mm.
hard to write a woman to be that gangster and still that fine, that fly, like Rock be putting that shit on.
Yeah.
Um, and just handle herself in a way where everything you say, I believe. Rock says she gonna get your ass, she gonna get you.
You're gonna get your
Like
ass.
I'm not playing with Rock. Like I'm really not.
Mm-hmm.
To write a character in that time, in this phase, and to have her be this successful at what she does, like chef's kiss. Like I can't say enough about Bettina Miller. I can't say enough about Rock. Um, she was the character that I had no idea that we needed. Like when it was announced that Power's gonna bring these different chapters in these books, we
Mm-hmm.
get Raising Kanan. Yeah, it's cool to see this upbringing, but I had no idea that
Yeah.
this is really
What
more
we
about Rock. Exactly. I had no idea. And I think that was just one of those pleasant surprises. And even when you know it, it's almost like Jordan. Like there's a
mm-hmm.
point when when I was a kid, you just know Jordan winning. Like Jordan taking that last shot, you just know you expect it to go in. It's just kind of what it was. It came second nature. And I don't know every time the bar is raised, she takes it another level.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, man, just big shout out to Patina Miller. Her performance, we don't have enough time to really get into everything. Um, but man, she carries that show on her back. And like I said,
Mhm.
incredible cast. Um, incredible cast all the way around. But what she does week in, week out, man, nothing short of amazing. Nothing short of amazing for me.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an amazing show. Really looking forward to season 4, and we gonna cover it. No matter what we got
Yeah.
going on. We gonna work it
We're gonna
out.
make
I
her.
really felt like that we missed out on this season. There's so much. I mean, we didn't really talk about Ronnie trying to kill Rock and like everything that really, really happened in this episode just because we had more of a rounded out conversation, but action packed drama theater, to your point, top level performances from everybody. Everybody has stepped it up from season 1. Um, just the work that they've done to become these characters and household names, and I don't want to call them by their character names all the time in real life, but just a phenomenal cast. Shout out to 50. Shout out to Stars, the Powerverse, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking
Yep.
forward to what's next.
Courtney Kemp, who Sasha Penn is actually the creator of Raising Kanan.
Mhm.
But Courtney Kemp, obviously, she created Power, and a lot of these characters are based off of her work. Um, 50 Cent, of course, as you mentioned, Patina Miller, London Brown, Malcolm Mays, um, Grantham Coleman, who played Ronnie. Solid performance. Ronnie was too menacing to make me believe that he was going to be carried on for another season. You got to get
Yeah.
rid of a nigga like that. Um, dare I say, he's almost a one-trick pony. Like
Mhm.
once you see everything that he brings, like that's kind of the max. I think
Yeah.
we saw everything Ronnie was capable of, and it made perfect sense to get rid of him. Kai Curtis, Omar Epps, Antonio Ortiz, Haley Kilgore, Joey Badass, Tony Danza. Shout out to Tony
Shout
Danza,
out to
man.
Tony Danza.
Wendell Pierce,
Shout out to
Liv
Wendell.
Simone, who plays Aisha,
Mhm.
um, Erica Woods, who plays Pop. Like I mean, star-studded cast. I'm sure we're going to get those deadline reports soon about who's going to be joining the cast for season 4.
Mm-hmm.
No different than when we, Toya Luckett, when we found out she was joining season 2 and all this stuff. They're just going to add more star power. They're still in the middle of their story. They're still doing everything the right way. I think they were putting on a master class of how to create a world and just stacking on top of each other season by season without getting too redundant. I guess I would say, just to wrap up this conversation, I'm with you, Rachel. To me, Raising Kanan is the best spinoff for all the reasons that we've discussed for the past hour or so. I'm going to follow that with Ghosts, and then I'm going to follow up with Force. I will say season 2 of Force was much better than season 1.
Sure.
It is a little bit more difficult. We have the luxury of having known characters in Ghost and Raising Kanan. Even though Raising Kanan is kind of set back in the prequel, we still know Kanan, and we still know Jukebox to some degree. What are you going to say?
I don't know. I mean, we know obviously Tariq and I don't want to call him.
I think
Connor,
just
but
Braden. I think the familiarity, because even when you have people like Tate who's still in the mix. I think there's just and even that detective. There's just that familiarity where it reminds you that you're still in that same world.
Right.
Even though you have all these new characters like Mary J. Blige's Auntie Monet and all that, you're still reminded that you're still in that same world. You even had Tasha popping in and out. You had Tommy popping in and out. It just feels more connected to compare it to Force, which is starting this whole new thing. And I don't even want to talk about Jannard and what they do with that character. I get it. I've seen a lot of people say Force was the best one, which was crazy to me.
Not at all.
It's definitely Raising Kanan, Ghost, and then Force. But I am. There was a lot of skepticism when the Powerverse was announced. When you ended, season 6, how you ended it. Then you hear that they're going to have this Tariq spinoff and this Raising Kanan and all that. But here we are, 3-4 years later, and it is doing everything that it's supposed to do, and it's obviously giving us more content to discuss. So
for sure.
Rachel, I don't know if you had anything else. I know we said we were going to talk about some other stuff we're watching on TV, but I think as I mentioned earlier,
later.
Yeah, we can do that later. I was going to say the original. I thought that might have been a 30-minute conversation about the Kanan recap, and it ended up being an hour 12, kind of like I predicted. So we're going to wrap things up here. But trust me, we will have some more some more episodes uploading, just to kind of check in with y'all, even if it's not a series per se. We've already got a list of some things that we want to talk about. I forget how soon the next one starts, but we will be getting some content to you guys, and we just want to be more active on the feed this year. Rachel, that's all I really got. I don't know if you got anything else you want to say.
That's all I got. Follow us on Instagram, and We Got Y'all Pod. I keep saying I'm gonna make a Twitter, but I haven't. So there's also an email. Same thing. I think it's We Got Y'all Pod at Gmail.
Yeah, We Got Y'all. Yeah. Yeah. So if you got any suggestions, anything that you want to recommend, if you just want to leave a comment or anything like that, just please hit us up on those social or that email address. We appreciate it, all of you. Like I said, Culture Garden. You can find us over there as well. We're in Romance Month right now. Last week we did, damn it, all this stuff is running together. Last week, Beyond the Lights, yes. A very good first watch. My first time watching it, had a very good conversation. This week we're gonna have another movie that I'm watching for the first time. Another great conversation that I expect to happen. But yeah, we'll catch y'all later on this feed. Please stay subscribed. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We'll be back with you soon. Y'all be cool. How y'all be cool.
Peace out. Bye-bye.
We out.